Hello and welcome to the A-Team 10 rapid fire questions about books, Poutine, and Canadiana with two very special Canadian authors, Louisa Onomé and Ashley Shuttleworth. And this is rapid fire, so we're just going to jump right into it with the first question, which is what is your name, your book's release date, title, and a one-sentence pitch about it. I will very quickly go first. My name is Liselle Sambury. My book Blood Like Magic comes out June 15th of this year, and it's about a family of Black witches living in a near future Toronto.
Hi, my name's Louisa Onomé. My debut book, Like Home, is out now, and it's about a 16-year-old girl who is dealing with changes in her neighborhood.
All right, hi, I'm Ashley Shuttleworth, author of A Dark and Hollow Star, which is also out now. And it is a YA fantasy about four queer teens who join together to stop a dangerous alchemist plotting against the courts of folk.
Question number 2, what is the most Canadian thing in your book? And I won't go first this time. I'm going to go reverse order. Ashley.
I think probably the most Canadian things are the things I had to take out, like the hydro bill. I had mentioned the hydro bill at one point. Oh, the matter was like, what's that? And that was the time I learned that we are the only ones that have hydro bills.
Oh, weird.
All right.
Yeah, America, no hydro bill. But also like the standard things like Tim Hortons and Timbits and such, the standard thing.
I think like there's a scene where in the morning they're waiting for someone, like two of the characters are waiting for like an insurance guy, and they're like drinking Tim Hortons first thing in the morning. And I think that's the most Canadian thing. I think there's other stuff, like they go to the Eden Center, like they skip school and go to the Eden Center and like all that kind of stuff. They go to secondary school as opposed to high school. I guess that's like probably the most Canadian thing.
I really enjoyed both Tim Hortons references in both of your books. It made me very happy. And thinking of it, I don't actually think they ever go to Tim Hortons in my book.
Oh my God.
But they do stand in line for poutine, for a limited edition poutine at like a fancy poutine place. And my editor was like, would people really stand in line for poutine? And I was like, you don't know the city I live in. 100% they would.
Yeah, I was like, I would stand in line for a limited
I would stand
poutine,
in line
like,
for poutine.
Of course.
Number 3, traditional poutine or poutine with toppings. For the audience, traditional poutine is just like gravy, cheese curds, and fries. And the toppings, you can add like bacon and other such items.
I'm like a very boring person. So I love traditional poutine. Like I'm the type of person that I'm like, I really like a poutine if the gravy is very good. Like to me, that's kind of what brings it together. So like I will eat just like the basic fries, cheese curds, and gravy. If the gravy tastes really good, I'm like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Like I don't buy toppings, none of like I'm not that adventurous. So it's just like the basic one for me.
I am also traditional poutine. I like toppings. I certainly like bacon, but when it comes to poutine specifically, no, yeah, gravy and cheese curds. That's all I want.
I was like, I'm the one bastardizing it. I have to get bacon on it. If there's no bacon on it, I'm low-key upset. Question number 4, most Toronto thing in your book.
For me, I think it's like disparaging the TTC. I'm pretty sure there was more of the TTC and it's very long and crowded wait. But I think every person in Toronto complains about the subway system. That is the most Toronto thing about this. Other than like, they go to a lot of places. There's like the CN Tower. Stuff. But I think the complaining about the TTC, I don't know anyone that is happy with it. I'm sorry to anyone who works for the TTC. Thank you for doing your job.
We still need you.
We still need you, but all the places I've lived in the world, this is the subway system I hated the most.
I think probably the most Toronto thing is because my neighborhood, the neighborhood in my book, Ginger East, exists like just outside of Toronto proper, but is part of like the greater Toronto area. So like the experience of getting to downtown from outside of Toronto proper, which is the most painful thing in the world when you're going by transit. So like, I think there's a part where they like skip school and they're like, we're going to the Eden Center. And then they're like, they have to time coming back by a certain time. So like, we have to make sure we're like on the subway or like take this bus like by that time, and it's just all of that logistics bullshit that everybody hates. And so I think that's probably like truest to my experience living outside of Toronto proper. Like it takes like an hour or whatever to bus into the city, and so that's probably the most Toronto thing.
100%. And I'm like on there with the transit. It's like the same. It's similar because it's in the future. So I made the TTC better, but not that much better. So like,
I was gonna say, even in the future, you
I
couldn't.
know. I was just gonna say.
I mean, that was
I made some things better. So I made it like free for people under 18 to use the TTC. But then my main character hates the TTC so much, she like will pay to take the GO train, even
Oh my
though
God.
she doesn't have that much money.
Do you know what I love about that? I feel like it's like, 'cause you wrote like a fantasy book, and it's like, I'm gonna like reconceptualize everything, but the TTC will still be horrible.
Yes.
So it's like, it doesn't even matter.
It's still
I love
terrible. It's still sweaty and hot. She's like, I hate taking this. I
so
really wish I could
probably
take
the
GO
same
train.
cars as now, right? They
I know,
probably
yeah.
haven't changed the car.
And there are no drivers. So that's the only other thing.
The update.
It's
Yeah.
computers control though, but it's still not great. Number 5, Tim Hortons or Starbucks?
Definitely sacrilegious, but like Starbucks, even though I'm not like a Starbucks hoe, like I'm not like obsessed with Starbucks, but I think their peppermint tea is just really good and I love it. Contrarily, I'm not really a fan of any drinks at Tim Hortons, so that's my reason.
I also have to say, okay, it's both. For drinks, Starbucks, because I can't actually have caffeine. And Tim Hortons doesn't do like decaf anything other than they're just like straight decaf coffee, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have to do Starbucks to get anything decaf. But as like donuts go and stuff, I love Tim Hortons.
I'm 100% Tim Hortons because I don't want to put my own sugar and milk in my thing. I don't want to do it.
Oh.
I don't want to.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I only drink tea, so I have no, like just basic black tea. I have no idea.
No, I go to Tim Hortons, I get my tea, I say 2 milk, 1 sugar, and they put it in for me, they stir it, and they give it to me, and I can drink it. At Starbucks, I gotta take the lid off, I gotta pour out some of the thing to make room for the milk, I gotta do all these sugar packets, I gotta stir it myself. I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that.
I didn't even know. Oh God. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Question number 6. Anything too Canadian for your American publisher?
Yeah, there were a lot of little things. It was mostly things like the hydro bill, which again, I did not know. The 10,000 U's and stuff that I put in.
Yeah. The U's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote my story in American English, so I didn't have to take out the U's later.
I guess a lot of like regional Toronto slang that like a lot of like Black kids will use. That I didn't even know was regional, like, because I think, I don't know, like you just exist and you're like, people say this, whatever. I didn't realize that like maybe some people in other territories or like whatever wouldn't understand it. Like I remember, I don't know if I got to keep in any mention of like, oh, I'm so cheesed. I think I wanted to and I couldn't. And then I wanted to say like, oh, like someone was looking at something, they're like, oh man, this is blessed. But I had to take that out because my American editor at the time was like, we don't, like, that's not a thing that people say there. And I was like, oh no, like, how? Like, I don't know. So there's just like small things like that just to make it a bit more uniform.
Very like give and take. I like, there were a lot, pretty much like all my Canadian stuff I got to keep. And the only thing that could not happen was toque.
I remember you saying this.
Toque?
Yeah, could
What
not
do we call it?
Very confusing. My editor was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm...
But what do they call it? Other than toque?
A beanie.
What?
The beanie.
I thought beanies were for fashion. Like when someone says toque, I'm like, that's a winter. That's like you're wearing that for fall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm gonna go put on my beanie right now.
Yeah,
It's like you can't be serious. It's
Gotta go down to Tim Hortons. Can't put on my toque.
So in the defense of my publisher, it is summer and he is wearing it for fashion. He's just just like a hipster. So he's in the future. So he's wearing, it is technically a beanie. Like it doesn't have a pom-pom, but like to me, any knit hat is a toque. All knit hats are toques to me. Number 7, butter tarts or beaver tails. For the audience, not real tails from real beavers. It's a dough and it's a dessert. I couldn't find a picture either, so it's just a picture of a beaver to make it even more confusing for you. Again, not real beaver meat. Ashley.
Yeah, it's like dough and cinnamon. I definitely pick butter tarts. Oh my god, I love butter tarts. But only with like the filling. I don't like raisins and I don't like pecans or any kind of nuts. Like I don't like anything in it. I like just the butter tart, just the filling.
A butter
also
tart.
Good maple butter tarts. That is escalating the Canadianness. It is so good.
I've actually never even had a beaver tail. Like I've seen them and heard of them, but I've never eaten one. So I prefer butter tarts, but I'm the same. Like when I was younger, I never used to mind the raisins, but as I got older, I'm like, this is dumb. And like, I don't like the extra stuff in it. So I'm just like, no, just the regular filling is good for me.
It's basically like a fried dough and then they put cinnamon sugar. When I've had it, I've been like, wow, this is amazing. But again, it's like you can't just get that easily. So then I never eat it. So I do also prefer butter tarts. But I'm not a purist. I want them to have pecans in them. I made them at home and I had to make half with nothing and half with pecans because my boyfriend refuses to eat the ones with he likes the raisin ones though. He's the worst sort of butter tart lover.
Oh my God. No, I'm on his side though, because I'm allergic to nuts. So I would not also eat the pecan one. But raisins, I don't know. Like as a preference, like that is his like he prefers that over
his favorite one. Like if he could choose, he would pick the ones with raisins on purpose.
Who hurt him?
On purpose. Wow.
Number 8, the Canadian city your main character would most love to visit and why?
Can I say BC? Because that's where I was born. So we'll go like Vancouver area because it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's always the picturesque area, and in my book, fairies really like the pretty things. So they'd probably go out BC way.
I would probably say like Montreal area because I like Montreal, but what I like about Montreal, I feel is what my characters might also appreciate about it. Like, and the thing is, like, I really like Montreal, but when I go there, it feels like I'm in a different country or like a different, like, I don't know, like the environment is just different. The vibe is just so different. And so it's nice. It feels like you're going far away, like you're really traveling, but like it's from here, it's only like 5 hours, like a 5-hour drive. So it's nice. So I think that's probably what I would pick for them.
Yeah. It's the European feeling. European.
It's honestly like, I really like it. It got to the point where I was there with some friends once and I was like, we went into some convenience store and I was like, oh, I don't know if I have the proper currency because it felt so much like I was in a different country. I was like, will they take this? Like, I don't know. It was funny, but yeah.
What's your Canadian money here?
Yeah.
My main character would do Montreal too, but she would be like, okay, she like never gets to travel anywhere because she has too many family members and it's too expensive. They like don't have money for it. So I feel like she would just be like, this is the farthest place I can go that is like fairly inexpensive because I don't necessarily need to fly and we could drive there and that would be cheaper, but we could at least go somewhere different enough.
Yeah.
Number 9, all dressed chips or ketchup chips?
All dressed chips, 100%. I think when I was growing up, I had an obsession with ketchup chips and I just grew out of it. And now I'm like, they're too much. Like they're a bit too much. So I prefer all dressed.
This is like such a hard one for me because I love them both equally. If I had to choose, I would probably say ketchup though. I really like the ketchup chip.
I would definitely pick all dressed chips, but I do like Louisa. When I was younger, I liked the ketchup more for whatever reason. But now that I'm like older, I'm all about the all dressed.
I never grew up.
That is the one. Number 10, a book that you love by a Canadian that isn't our books, because I love both of your books. You haven't read mine yet. I'll assume that you love it.
I do love it. No matter
of course. 100% accurate. Yeah.
But one that is not our books.
I'm going to say Nikki Palprado's Crown of Feathers series. I really loved reading those books.
I have it somewhere.
They were one of the first ones I read when I first signed on with my editor, who also edited Nikki's books. And I just really like the way that she writes. Does a lot of world building as well. Very big books. That might be why I really gravitate towards that, because kind of similar fantasy writing there.
I really love The Marrow Thieves by Cherie Dimaline. I think she's such an amazing storyteller. And that book just like ruined my life. So I love it so much.
A friend was actually just yesterday telling me about that book. It does sound
to read it.
Good. I have to read
You
it.
have to read it. I'm such like a fan of hers though. Like I read her other book, Empire of Wild as well. And like even from the first page, I was like, wow, like I start reading it and like my stomach is in knots. Like I just feel like it's such a weird visceral reaction. Her work is so, so good. It's like post-apocalyptic. It deals with these two Indigenous kids who are like just trying to find sanctuary sort of thing. And then they like meet up with other people. They're being hunted because there's something in their bone marrow or in their DNA that people who are not Indigenous like need, because it helps them sleep, because in the society, nobody is able to sleep sort of thing. I think I don't know if I probably did a horrible job explaining it, but it's very good and it's very like nuanced and there's so many layers. I love it.
And I would say Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia.
She was Canadian.
I know, I keep forgetting.
I found that out and I felt so proud. I was like, wow.
You're like, wow, this is a personal accomplishment. I love it.
Anytime I see any Canadian having any accomplishment, I was like, this is also my accomplishment.
I know. You're like, I love this for us. This is great.
Oh, but yeah, it's so good. It's just like haunted house-esque story set in like historical Mexico, and like it's just so cool. And it's like a lot of stuff is gross, which I really appreciate. And like I do like the romance in it. It's a little like you don't feel great about liking it, but I like it. And that's it for 10 rapid fire questions with these amazing Canadian authors. I'm going to have the links to buy their books and add them to Goodreads in the description below. So make sure you do one or both of those things. And their books are both out today, February 23rd. So what better time to celebrate and purchase or library borrow or add to Goodreads? The best time. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.